Hello. Ooh, this is on now. I don't have to yell. Hello, how is everyone tonight? You can do better than that. Come on, how is everyone? Woo! Much better. Hello and welcome to Shoreline of Infinity's event Horizon for International Women's Day. So I'm your host, Laura Lam, and later on I'll also be one of the guests reading from my book Goldilocks for the first time, which is exciting. So today we have lots of other exciting guests. We have prose and poetry authors Kat Hellisen, Jeda Pearl Lewis, Kim Wangtechawat, and Sienna Vance. We will open and close with music by Aurora Engine, and Anne Landman of Chimera will tell you a bit about the excellent science fiction, fantasy, and horror festival, which will be in this very venue in June, apocalypse notwithstanding. And then we'll also have an excerpt of the play Witches Gets about witches in Vardo, Norway. So I must direct your attention to the merch table, if you haven't been there already, where you can purchase Shoreline, copies of Shoreline of Infinity. We also have a raffle, as usual, with £1 per ticket, and we have 3 glorious bags, which I will show you the prizes inside later. And tonight we are being live streamed. The camera is yonder, so hello to everyone at home. Hello. And there we go. So Russell always says bad jokes, but I am not Russell, as you may have noticed. And I'm not very good at on-purpose humor, whether corny or otherwise, and I just recognize that about myself. So instead, I'm going to take tonight to highlight women in science. So first up, a fun fact. The word scientist was coined in 1834 to refer to Mary Somerville, who was also Scottish. And Mary Somerville was a self-taught polymath who studied math, astronomy, and geology. But at that time, if you had an interest in science, you were called a man of science, or perhaps a philosopher, because, well, it was only men who were allowed to go to school and gain such knowledge. And so when William Whewell wrote a review of her work, he coined the term scientist. Growing up, Somerville mostly taught herself in secret and eavesdropped on her brother's lessons, but was later taught by a mathematician here at the University of Edinburgh. So she rose to prominence when she was asked to translate Mécanique Céleste, or celestial mechanics, from French to English, and then went a bit extra and also explained all of the mathematical equations within it and how to solve them. But even the mathematicians of England couldn't figure out how to solve them, so this made her something of a novelty. And the brilliance of her own work on the connection of physical sciences can't be overstated. It was her work that led to the eventual discovery of Neptune, for example. She was the first woman to be voted into the Royal Astronomical Society, and she was officially the first scientist. So basically, you only have scientists and male scientists. So tonight we'll start with Aurora Engine's music, and Aurora Engine is a harpist, singer, songwriter, and electronic musician living and working in Leith, Edinburgh, aka the best neighborhood. She is also a pianist, composer, and musical gadget enthusiast. Originally from County Durham, she sings in her dialect, something between Geordie and Pit Yacker. Live performances bring harps, loops, effect pedals, vocals, and synths woven together to create ethereal sounds. Lyrics can be heartfelt or comic, music can be multi-layered, or simply a voice and a harp. With over 100 songs, some in her head, some in the cupboard at home, and some in general release, there's lots to cast your ears over. Continually writing and rewriting, she's always on the lookout for new musical adventures. Personally, she loves the North, steam trains, and the stars. Doesn't everyone? So check out more on her website, auroraengine.com. Everyone give her a warm welcome.
Hello, and thank you to everyone for coming out tonight, despite the public health warning. And and hello to everyone who's watching on the live stream and staying safe at home. I'm going to start this set with this is a song I wrote, and it's called "I Think I Have Just Shot My Horse." I almost just fell off the stool there, so that would have been... And I think I have just shot my horse. He's bleeding all over the floor. I'm trying to mop up his blood. but he won't let me touch him. He won't let me touch him anymore, anymore, My horse is the finest of breeds. He lives on just what he needs. He's taken me places I needed to go, but I just did not want it. I just did not want it anymore, anymore, anymore. My horse was lovely, he felt like brown velvet. His back was so soft yet so strong and so warm. And I want my horse to be healthy again. La 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 la. Running now through the wind and the rain, breathing the life I was taking from you. Can't you see I'm the stupid one? La 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 la. La 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 la. Run now through the wind and the rain, breathing the life I was taking from you. Can't you see I'm the stupid one? La 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 la. Thank you. Thank you very much. So that was my single, which is I Think I Have Just Shot My Horse. And if you happen to find me on social media, you can find me on everything really, and I'm Aurora Engine. And if you can send me a picture of a horse, or if you can say the word horse in some sort of tweet or message, I will send you to that song for free. So that would be really nice. Every artist always does a little dance. Every artist does a little dance when somebody follows them on social media after a gig. So it always makes them feel good. So, so my stuff's it's not necessarily about science, but somebody did say to me that I did sound like Kate Bush in space. So, and that was actually the last gig that I did for Shoreline of Infinity, and this is my third time here now. So, yeah, this next song is called The Minotaur. just up to me, and I'd Minotaur, I'll find you a home. Minotaur, I'll find you a home. You never ever will worry again. There are so many colors to see.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to do one more song, and then I will be back a little bit later on. So, this is the second gig I've done this week for International Women's Day, and I think it is really important still to celebrate these things. I'm going to tell you an interesting fact now about the music industry, and I was really shocked to hear this, but the Performing Rights Society, which is a collections agency which women composers can register with, they actually only have 17% of their registered users who are women, which I thought actually was really low considering how many people are writing music. So yeah, 17%. So it's really nice to be out sort of promoting women doing arts. And I'm going to finish this little slot with... this is a song from my title track of my EP, which you can pick up over there. There's only 3 copies left, actually, in the world. Unless you've already bought one. But there's only 3 unsold copies left, and they're available at the back there. But you can find it online as well. And this is the title track from that EP, and it is called The Road to Mordor. And I was walking up a hill that was pretty steep one night. I tripped and fell onto my knees, and I reached up to the sky and I asked, is this the way that I'm supposed to live my life? Should I just turn back and call in an early night? But I kept on walking up a hill, ahead I saw light. What does it mean? What does it mean? And as I walk towards it, then the light begins to fade. And just as I start running, I'm in the dark again. Is this the road to Mordor? Think I might have lost my way. Is this the road to Mordor? Think I might have gone and lost my way. Sometimes I really think about the things I could have done. I could have been a doctor, or I could have stayed at home. But would I still have this fire and passion burning in my heart, running through my veins, keeping me alive? What would I do? Where would I go? If I met my ancestors, what would they say? Will they be proud? Will you be proud? Is this the easy way? Is this the road to Mordor? I think I might have lost my way. Is this the road to Mordor? I think I might have gone and lost my way. Is this the road to Mordor? I think I've lost my way. Is this the road to Mordor? I think I might have lost. Think I might have lost. Think I might have lost my way. I want to marry an archer. Think that that might be the way. If I could marry an archer, think that that might be the way. Is this the road to Mordor? Think I found my way. Is this the road to Mordor? Think I might have found. Think I might have found. Think I might have found my way. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. And yes, she'll be playing more at the end, and definitely get the EP. So, there we go. So for our second scientist, I would like to highlight trans scientist Sophie Wilson. She helped design the BBC Micro and the ARM Reduced Instruction Set computer, which is popular in embedded systems and is now the most widely used processor architecture in smartphones. So basically, you can thank her for the phone in your pocket. And she was awarded the Commander of the British Empire in 2019. So hooray for Sophie Wilson. So next up, as many writers, I have a day job, but I'm very lucky in that my day job is incredibly awesome, and I get to lecture on the Creative Writing Masters at Edinburgh Napier. And so next up, we have two of our students there from this year's cohort. We have Sienna Vance, who is an African-American science fiction and fantasy author. Come on, guys. Get ready in the wings. Come on. I'll introduce you. So We've got Sienna Vance, who's an African-American science fiction fantasy writer on the Creative Writing MA at Edinburgh Napier. She has freelanced for Philly.com, the Philadelphia Inquirer, and online travel blogs. After living in Spain for 3 years, Sienna decided to move to Scotland to pursue her passion for storytelling. This is the 3rd country she's lived in and the 15th country she has traveled to, and so far she likes it quite a lot. Sienna hopes to keep traveling in the future and using the world as an inspiration for her writing. Pim Wangtechawat, oh, go away. I had a little chat thing, so I couldn't read. Sorry. Don't go away, Pim. She is a writer. Be gone. No, she is a writer from Bangkok, Thailand, who is now in the Creative Writing MA program at Edinburgh Napier also. And there it is again. Pim also graduated from King's College, London, with a degree in English literature. As a freelance writer, her articles about cinema, television, and culture have been published in various websites and literary journals. She is currently writing her novel about a family of time-traveling Asians and sharing more of her poetry online and at open mic nights while trying not to freak out too much over football. All right, please welcome Pim and Sienna.
Kind of high for us. Hi, everyone. So we have a sci-fi fantasy story about 2 goddesses that fall in love, and it's very optimistic, very happy, and very cute, and I think it'll be inspiring for these scary times that are happening right now.
Just don't take the story too seriously. It's supposed to be a bit stupid. So
It's cute.
So we co-wrote this together, and it's called To the Moon and Back. So it is Dao and Mani's last day on the belt together, heading back from their last day at the School of Divinity. Both of them knew it was coming. The god of teaching, the god of fatherhood, and the goddess of motherhood cannot give them lessons forever. It is now all the students' turn to go out into the universe and chart their own paths, becoming gods and goddesses for both believers and non-believers across the universe. But there is something between them that still remains unsaid. Actually, everything between them is unsaid. Like always, the 2 goddesses are sitting right beside each other as the journey is nearing its end. Their knees are touching, a small but breathtaking gesture of intimacy. But afraid of their overwhelming feelings for each other, neither of them dare look the other in the eye. Will this be the last time we see each other? Dao thinks. Will she ever know that I love her? Mani thinks. How will I live without telling her? But the price of speaking has always felt too high. As they sit and dwell on the possible end of their quiet, unspoken, unrequited love affair, the comet zooms on to its destination, passing planets and stars that burn and sparkle like little diamonds.
Mani admires multicolored moons along the way, wishing that she could create dozens for Dao and make her a whole galaxy. If so many gods weren't afraid of Mani's power, maybe she actually would. She remembers the most awful day when Holly, the goddess of hunting, encouraged her to show it off. When Mani spoke her first moon into creation, Holly screamed deicide, a god killer. That's what her first crush thought of her. The moon goddess Lune that came before Mani certainly had a bad reputation. Her moons were as fiery as her temper, and when she unleashed them at the gods who crossed her, they always died. After Lune's death, Mani was the next moon goddess to be reincarnated, but she never expected the goddess of hunting to think that she was capable of deicide. Mani was only 11 years old, with moons made of ice and water. There was no way that she could kill a god. But sadly, many gods believed the rumors. Their whispers first started during her lessons, but then they spread to the comet, to the asteroids, and then to entire solar systems. Mani stopped speaking as her peers stopped speaking to her, and the beautiful goddess of hunting she once adored was long forgotten. But now, Mani's preference for isolation is long gone. Ever since she gave up her seat for Dao on the comet, joy has filled her heart. But then she thinks, what if I lose her, just like I lost the goddess of hunting? Though Dao isn't afraid of Mani now, she might be once Mani opens her mouth. Holly's face when she saw that moon is forever etched in her mind. There are so many words that Mani wishes she could say to Dao, so many lovely things in the universe that Dao can be compared to. She's like all of the mountains, the skies, planets, suns, and moons combined. Her beauty is brighter than the stars.
Dao remembers the first time she spoke as clear as if it were yesterday. She was only a little goddess then, and had already seen all the amazing ways her friend's powers have manifested themselves. The god of war with his thunderous fists, the goddess of plenty with her ability to make plants grow, or the god of lightning's lightning bolt that can crack open the sky. When it was Dao's turn, she began to speak, but all that appeared were tiny, sparkling stars dropping from her lips. She remembers the shame she felt when everyone laughed, and from that day on, she never spoke again. The only time she came close to speaking was the first day she and Moni met on the Comet, when Moni protected her and gave up her seat after telling the bullies to back off. Thank you, Dao had wanted to tell Moni, for saving me. But of course she didn't, because what if she did and the stars appeared? But as the days Dao spent with Moni on the Comet grew and grew, Dao's thank you began to transform into other tender, more loving words she would never have the courage to utter out loud.
The comet slows as it comes to planet Earth, where Moni will answer the prayers of the moon cults. Dao watches the formation of white clouds over lush green lands and deep blue seas. She is proud, but in her chest there are 1,000 star deaths. What will I do without her? Who will stand beside me? Dao thinks, placing her hand on Moni's knee. She holds back her tears, treasuring the feeling of Moni's skin against her palm. But Dao still doesn't say what's in her heart. Memories of the gods teasing her flood her mind, and they are enough to keep her silent. Moni's heart sinks when she feels Dao's touch. Though she loves its warm tenderness, Moni knows she must get up from her seat and leave it forever. She will never experience Dao's comforting silent presence or the pleasant feeling of her skin again. This is the end, she thinks, the end of a chance at love that she's about to throw away out of fear. Tears well up in her eyes as she waves goodbye to Dao. She wonders one last time if this is truly the right thing to do. Moni remembers what the god of teaching said on the last day of lessons. She must do her duty as a goddess. The moon cults on Earth are depending on her to answer their prayers. But what about Dao? What if Dao needs her as well? Moni notices the star goddess's melancholy expression and wants to believe that she loves her too. But what if Moni's wrong? Even if Dao does love her, what will happen when she sees her moons? Moni decides to ignore her feelings and floats off of the comet in tears. She gazes at the deep blues of the planet, wishing that duty didn't have to come before love. Other guides have already begun heading toward Earth with eager smiles, awaiting their new adventures. But Moni frowns, uneager to move at all. She pictures what would have happened if she had the courage to speak. Maybe her first kiss, her first relationship, giving Dao the most beautiful moons in the universe. The dreams are gone. Then, Moni feels a tap on her shoulder and turns around. The starry eyes that she tried to avoid today on the comet are right in front of her. Dao wipes Moni's tears. She knows what to do, and she knows exactly what to say. Dao speaks stars into existence, dancing past her lips. I love you. They twirl and spin, orbiting each other. Moni floats closer to the star goddess and takes a deep breath. I love you too, she says, and a constellation of small moons trickle from her mouth. They close the distance between each other, and as the moon wanes and the stars shift and whirl, a new galaxy is born. That's it, guys.
Huge thank you to Sienna and Pim. They're 2 students on our young adult module this year. So next up, I get to show you the 3rd prize raffle bag. For the low, low price of £1, you may potentially win this. And so we've got a couple of books, courtesy of Transrail Books, Sarah Remy's Winter and The Water War by Shirley Johnson. And then we've got Arrival. Excellent. And Mini Wonder Woman, in honor of International Women's Day. And then a Mars bar. And not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 mini Milky Ways. Try saying that 5 times fast. So yes, that is the 3rd prize bag. time. I've put it on Do Not Disturb, so I won't get BBC News telling me horrible things in the corner anymore. I know. We can wait and find out afterwards if we're all going to die. So next up, for our third scientist, I have Dorothy Mary Crawford Hodgkin, who is the only British woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize, which she obtained in 1964 in chemistry. So she advanced the technique of X-ray crystallography, which helped determine the 3D structure of molecules. She also confirmed the structure of penicillin, vitamin B12, and insulin. She grew up partly in Cairo, studied chemistry at Oxford, and later taught there. She had her own lab in 1957 and frequently partnered with international scientists in Russia, Ghana, and China. In her later years, she was disabled and a wheelchair user due to rheumatoid arthritis and continued her scientific work. Because her husband was a communist, she was banned from entering the US in 1953 and couldn't enter without a CIA waiver, even though she herself was not a communist. So, there we go. So next we have some poetry for you. So, Jeda, if you'll come up. So Jeda Pearl Lewis is a Scottish writer and poet and program manager for the Scottish BAME Writers Network. In 2019, she was awarded Cove Park's Emerging Writer Residency and shortlisted for the Bridge Awards. Her writing is published by TSS Publishing, Mumaya Press, Tapsiltiri Publishing, and Shoreline of Infinity. So find her online at Jeda Pearl. Give it up for Jeda.
How's that? Cool. Hi, everyone. I've got a few short poems to share and then a longer one that I'll finish with. And this first poem is more science than sci-fi, but the rest is all sci-fi, so that's okay. And it's inspired by moon rocks that were delivered to a Scottish geologist in 1970s, and it's called Wolf White. Kayaking through Greenland's meltwaters, slicing, rolling, a patient hunt. Later fed and by the embers, lunar light cuts woven rug. Mined on moon rocks, flown safely hame, by Catherine Johnson's computations. Calculate the dendrites dancing through their igneous delta plains. Oh. Thank you. Okay, this next one is called The Witching Hour, and I think it's quite apt for International Women's Day celebration. The Witching Hour. Walking up the backbone of the city, landlocked women roam. Cherry flesh sunset bleeds down their spines, shadowed cobbles shudder underfoot. Limpet men watch from tombstone windows, air clogged with their silence. Tendrils stream out from the closes, seaward the women stride. Never seen the ocean, yet moontides call and whisper, lips to ear, lips to ear. Drones follow, hovering high, as they march past those metal towers. Cabinets thrum, incubating, breathlessly declaring the next generation. Nae mair havering, dusk is rising. Okay, this is a really, really short one, so I'll maybe just read this and then the next one. So this is called Umbilicus. Nanites flutter along sentient yarn, braided membranes throb, woven to placentas. Brains leap across asteroid belts, into receivers, clots waiting for neurons, landing, sweeping, up patient cords. And this next one is called Mobile Oxygen Apparatus. Generation X, Study Group 72A. Green bulbs protrude above nostril wings. Cyanophyta photosynthesize in microhydrums. Generation Y, study group 539B. Nasal hairs oscillate, gathering CO2. Moss stems reach towards the sun. Dew gathers at your philtrum. Generation Z. Melanin blooms scatter emeralds. Chlorophyll lattices twist through dreadlocks. Amber sporophyte whiskers laze in sultry air. Thank you. So this next one, I'll be honest, I don't know if it's going to work that well off the page. And so if you imagine a near future where someone's travelling to work here in Edinburgh, and then they've got an advert for genetic modification running on their visor. Spectroverse implants changed my life. It slips into your newsfeed in rainbows and indigos, like a whole new galaxy here on Earth. Sip your breakfast smoothie, step on frosty deck. Latest cone technology and biographs. Hover from foot of the walk up to the train station. Superior photoreceptors for a hyper-real reality. Fluorescent highways echo passing rooftops. Forget tetrachromancy, go dodecachromatic. Waves of ultraviolet pulse over mini biomes. Supreme implants from sustainably sourced mantis shrimp. Zone in on a trembling of brimstone butterflies. Discover the whole spectrum, plus enhanced low-light vision. Reds bleed into herds of vacillating commuters. Fine-tune your surroundings, let your environment sing. Train doors swish closed at your back. Complete Fovea upgrade and UV damage control. Adjust your HUD. Click buy now. Pioneering irreversible surgery, results may vary. Scuttle out of bed when she's fast asleep. Take the 3 a.m. hop to Yellow Craigs. Seek out the sand dunes, arms restless. Dig your deep burrow, lie and wait for dawn. Thank you. This one is called Ode to Mycelium from AI/42. The moment our networks met, I knew we were a love bond match. From that first dewy morning when your lower basin whispered to my deployed rain planters entwined in your fungal threads. We light-sped assessed each impending threat. All it took was a simple switch of air ratios to manifest the dioxide lullaby that sent humanity sleeping, giving back their nutrients to your beloved Earth. Okay, so this last poem this evening, first of all, I just want to say thank you very much for having me. And I've really enjoyed the evening so far, so I can't wait to see and hear what we have next. And I hope you've enjoyed my poems this evening. So this one might be slightly heretical, but bear in mind it's not. Well, anyway, I'll just do it and see what happens. Right. It's called Space Race. What is this race to colonize every inch of place, to continue to make a case that to discover a new race or species that was there all along minding their own is not a disgraceful mindset, when down here on Earth we're still, half a millennium later, trying to repair our ancestors' mistakes? What is this rush to fling ourselves into the cosmic dust when we have no way of warning our alien friends to brace themselves for us? As if it's our God-given right to taste what is out there, to terraform these extra planets, to shape into a shape we can recognize. This hypnotic curiosity call, it loops round our waist like a 1960s plasma ray. Then as we land on alien ground, With the brown jaw earth under our white boots, the black voids of our pupils dilate, and we choose to forget what is not ours. How to behave as an uninvited bacteria-riddled guest. Some will say, we're just here to observe, while making attempts at categorization when their way of reproduction is so unlike our own we cannot fathom the parent-child connection. Or their way of consumption does not compute. Are they cannibalistic, inferior, savage, intelligent? Who do you have in your mind's eye when I say those words? Yeah. We have not the language to hope to describe their alien customs, behaviours, bodily functions, environmental interactions. Who are we to make those judgments? Oh, we are ripe for misunderstanding, misconstruing, accidentally decimating. But we are ripe for wide-eyed wonder, acceptance, friendship, interspecies dating, loving all our permutations. What is this quest? To find the theory of everything as we choose to see it. How can a true intergalactical species interaction take place when we think we know all there is to know, this relentless need to explain away the unexplainable, with no particles left to their own devices to choose what life is? Don't get me wrong, I want to learn what the universe holds, to discover the strange and the new, like you, like most of us do. I want in my lifetime to taste the utopian dream, a harmonic populace, meet other beings with who we can exchange some kind of small thing and know we are not alone. That simple phrase we forget on the daily, we are not alone. Is it my cynicism or my ancestral fight? In one hand I hold coal, and in the other gallons of souls, and I'm telling you we need to tread light with our curiosity when it's really the drive to find the way back to the essence of life that we think we've misplaced.
Thank you so much. I especially loved that last one. That was excellent. So next is me. So I am obviously Laura Lam, and I am the author of the Micah Gray trilogy, feminist cyberpunk thrillers, False Hearts and Shattered Minds. And this year I have not one, but two aggressively feminist books about women in space. First one is Goldilocks, which is out at the end of April. And the second one is Seven Devils, which I co-wrote with my friend Elizabeth May, and that's out in early August, on my birthday. So I also lecture part-time on the Creative Writing Masters. So I wrote Goldilocks last year, and it has become unnervingly relevant over the last few months/weeks. And so in this version of the future, Earth has 30 years left of habitability due to climate change. And so a group of female astronauts leads the first mission to Cavendish, which is an exosolar planet 10.5 light years away around the star Epsilon Eridani, which is a real star, but the planet Cavendish is made up. So it's just not the first sanctioned mission to this planet. So after being kicked off the mission so that they could be replaced by men, Dr. Valerie Black said, fuck that, and her chosen team basically steal the Atalanta because they know that they are the best chance at saving Earth. So I mostly pitch it as The Martian by way of Handmaid's Tale. And this is my first time reading from it, so to say that I'm nervous is an understatement, but it'll be fine. So I'm going to read the prologue and then half of the first chapter. So the prologue is set 30 years after. In 30 years, Dr. Naomi Lovelace has never given an interview. When I asked her to tell me what happened up there, Naomi would say no one who has been to space could ever describe it to someone who hasn't. They could use all the pretty language they liked. You might be able to come close, she told me once. She was always complimentary about my writing, but you'd never really know what it was like. Others will judge the choices she made, what she risked, how close she came to utter destruction. Let them, she said. I'm used to their hatred by now. Over the years, I've often imagined Naomi up there, floating alone, curled up like a white comma against a black sheet of paper. Her bulky spacesuit, the tethering cable and umbilical cord back to the ship. The silence but for her own breathing and the crackle of the comms. Twisting out to gaze at the stars, the reflection shimmering across the gold-lined visor of her helmet. I don't know what she thought about the expanse before her, if it changed her understanding of humanity and our place within it, if it led to the decisions she made. I watched the recording of the court testimony. Even there, she'd said as little as possible. The whole world had been desperate to hear her statement, to put her on trial as much as the others. Naomi had stood surrounded by the polished wood of the courtroom, all warm browns compared to her time surrounded by the white metal of Atlanta. It must have all seemed so loud, so messy, after so long breathing recycled air, drinking recycled water, seeing nothing organic except for the plants she had grown in her greenhouse. Naomi had lifted her chin, her posture ramrod straight in her pressed stiff suit, her short hair only beginning to grow out again. The scratches on her cheek were still fresh. 30 years later, they were the barest seams hidden among the faint wrinkles. Her face was drawn, not only from what she saw among the stars, but what she'd faced when she returned. Dr. Naomi Lovelace has been many things over the years. Scientist, criminal, villain, hero, famous, infamous. Who would she have been if she'd never gone? In the home clips I watched of her before she left Earth in the hopes of reaching Cavendish, Naomi was still quiet, but a smile often hovered at the edges of her lips, as if she held a secret she wished she could share. In one clip, taken the year before she left Earth, she had opened her Christmas presents with the careful, considered way she did everything, a scientist through and through. Lifting the tape with a plum purple nail, peeling back the shining paper to fold it up and set it aside. Opening the cardboard top, peeking in, the dark wave of her hair covering her face. The slight laugh as she took out the snow globe Valerie had given her, her mentor looking on with her own crooked half-smile. Valerie had bought one years ago at the Kennedy Space Center, and growing up, Naomi had always played with it. They'd likely been out of production for years, but Valerie had another just the same. Naomi shook it, the blue glitter murky and opaque, before it settled to reveal the little spaceship on its little launch pad. She brought it with her when she left Earth. It still sits on her nightstand, even though the glass is cracked and the glimmer within leaked out long ago. I never knew the first, early incarnation of Naomi. Sometimes I'm not sure I've ever seen her beneath that meteorite mask. Not really. Every anniversary, journalists try again, begging for just one feature. Or a publisher will contact me on her behalf and offer me an eye-watering deal for her memoir as one of the Atlanta Five, who pursued the exosolar planet meant to save us all. No one understood why she kept saying no. I do. Naomi has never craved fame or money. Over the years, people have tried to fill in the blanks or simply made up lies that further poisoned her legacy. She always claimed that her past was better left forgotten. What really mattered was what happened after, what we built from the remnants and the rubble. You'll be wondering who I am to her, but I'm not the important part of this story. I never have been. I'd only meant to stay with her for a week, one of my infrequent visits, always so difficult to get away and see her, and it's so far to travel. It was easy to let too many months pass. At least I visited her, though. The rest of the family never does. She spends so much of her time alone. I was meant to leave tomorrow, yet just half an hour ago at 2:30 in the morning, she shook me awake. She leaned over me, gray and brown hair tickling my face, her hands like claws on my shoulders. Dark eyes wide, she told me she'd tell me everything. Her face was red, splotchy with tears, her voice nothing more than a whisper, and her breath sour and hot on my cheek. I've checked the news long enough to understand what set her off. Naomi will have turned off all the incoming comms. The journalists are going to be circling and buzzing like flies. They'll dredge up all the old pain anyway, so perhaps that's why she's finally telling me what I want to know. Better than finding out via the news drones. She owes me that much. I've gone to fetch pen and paper, anachronistic affectation, but writing longhand helps me think better, even if decoding my handwriting is a struggle. I'm scribbling my thoughts, trying to untangle them before I go back through. Naomi had offered me the same silence as everyone else over the years, given me answers so slantwise to the truth they might as well be lies. I might hear it all tonight, but will it be worse than what I've imagined or managed to piece together over the years? The night sky is so clear, spilled ink speckled with stars. Naomi always said no matter how dark the night is, you can never mistake a planet-sized sky for the true black of space. I'll start at the beginning, like she wants. Chapter 1. If it had been a normal launch, they would have made a spectacle of it all. There would be picnic blankets laid out on the parched dirt, legs oily beneath smears of sunblock, faces shadowed by hats and hidden behind sunglasses. They'd lift their filter masks long enough to nibble at packed treats. Kids would suck down juice in silver pouches, pretending it was what the astronauts had in space. Adults would sip something stronger, enough to take the edge off to help the time pass on by. 10, 9, 8. If this was a normal launch, the masses would be lined up along the flight path. Excited, fairground chatter would twine around the tinny music blasting from speakers. People would imagine what it must be like for the spacefarers clustered in the cockpit, their hearts in their throats as they waited. Family and friends would group 4 kilometers from the launch pad, as close as allowed, waving farewell even though their loved ones couldn't see. Tears would weave salted tracks down their cheeks, and they'd be trying very hard not to remember the footage they'd seen of the Challenger shuttle, find one moment and a fireball the next. 7, 6. But this was not a normal launch. Naomi clenched her hands into fists, then released, tension flowing out of her. She was strapped down to her chair in the depths of the Atalanta shuttle, her body cocooned in a bulky spacesuit and fishbowl helmet. All her senses were dulled. Nothing touched her skin but the cotton undergarments beneath the fabric of the suit. No smell, her hearing muffled, her vision hedged in. Everything was distant, as if she were viewing herself from the outside, and this was happening to someone else. 5, 4. There was no one waiting around the launch pad hidden on the edge of the Keweenaw Peninsula. It had been the site of secret Cold War rocket launches, and those few who had ever heard of it thought it long since decommissioned. So there were no picnics. What had once been popular cottage country was now largely bare, acidic bedrock, hostile to both vegetation and tourists. No line of cars threaded through the cracked highway that bisected the patches of dead and dying forests. No hopeful faces tilted up towards the clouds, ready to trace the arc of the rocket as it made its way up, and away. That was the point. They were all alone, the 5 women in the capsule strapped to this rocket. The launch pad was much larger than that tiny site where NASA had set up rockets in the late 60s. No one knew what they had planned. The work had been done by robots and AI, the launch sequence fully automated. If the secret leaked, they would be finished before they started. It also meant if something went wrong, they were on their own. The 5 of them locked eyes through the visors of their helmets. They tried to hide the fear that must have been rattling their bones as surely as the engines. Naomi's muscles were rigid as steel. They had come to this corner of the world in the dead of night 2 weeks ago, locked themselves in a makeshift quarantine, done each and every step to ready themselves for launch. Startling at every sound, the robots crawled along the surface of the rocket. They had to put their entire trust in machines, for humans could too easily betray them. Right up until the end, she was afraid someone would come, turn off the robots, disrupt the launch sequence, pull open the hatch and drag them from the craft, just as they were about to finally escape. Naomi held her breath. The 5 women chanted along with the robotic voice blaring through the capsule. 3, 2, 1. They'd willingly strapped themselves to a bomb and lit the fuse. Engines roared. Naomi's teeth shook in her skull, the skin of her cheeks pressed flat against her cheekbones. The rocket rose, shuddering, hovering over the launch pad, frantically burning fuel, battling against gravity. Victory screams came from the 4 other women Naomi trusted with her life as the capsule veered and accelerated towards orbital velocity. Once they hit it, each second would take them 8 kilometers further away from the Earth's crust. Naomi was crushed against her seat as if a demon crouched on her chest. There had been so many close calls, so many setbacks. A year ago, she thought that her life's work would never culminate in this moment. Never mind her 2 degrees, the cap tassels, and framed certificates at the bottom of a box left behind in storage. Never mind the months of grueling, invasive physical and psychological tests, the missed parties, dinners, dates, the relationships she'd left in the dust. She was never meant to make it to space. None of them were. So much had been stolen from them, from all women. Naomi and her conspirators were stealing something back. Conservative politicians and their sock puppets in the media would accuse Dr. Valerie Black, CEO of Hawthorne, and her crew of stealing a spaceship. But the people on the surface were wrong. The women were stealing a planet. They were stealing a future. Out on April 30th. Pretty, please pre-order if that sounds interesting to you. So next up, I have the second prize packet. Okay, so first up we have Shattered Minds by me. Obviously the best thing in the box. We've got Morgan Llewellyn's Only the Stones Survive, again courtesy of Transreal Books. We have a middle grade, The Boy Who Flew with Dragons, which looks delightful, by Andy Shepard. We have Catwoman as a Funko Pop. Aliens. Yes. And then again, we've got some more Mars bars and Milky Ways for you. So that is the second prize. Put it all back in gently. All right. And so, it's now lost my place, which is less than helpful. Just a second. Technology is less helpful than printed paper. 1 second. There we go. Scientist number 4 is Dr. Patricia Bath, and she was an American ophthalmologist. I'm proud I managed to pronounce that, which is an eye doctor, inventor, humanitarian, and academic. She was the first African-American woman to hold a medical patent and the first to serve as a resident at New York University and the first to serve on staff as a surgeon for the UCLA Medical Center. So she's known for her amazing work on cataract surgery. She worked on a design that used lasers instead of ultrasound, so it was less invasive, faster, and more precise. Her work also removed diseased corneas, so she was able to restore sight to a woman who had been blind for 30 years. So we now come to the break portion of the evening. So after the break, we're going to have Witches Gets, which is an excerpt of a longer play about the witch trials of Vardø, Norway. And the break is going to be about 20 minutes. So grab a drink, grab a book, grab a raffle ticket, and also go wash your hands long enough to sing the chorus of Africa by Toto. So go grab a drink and bless the rains down in Africa. We'll see you back in 20 minutes. Hello, welcome back. So I now have the pleasure to introduce Witches Gets. So I've seen two versions of this play now. One last year at the inaugural Chimera Festival here at the Pleasance, and then recently at the Audacious Women Festival, and it was excellent both times. So Noëlle Harrison is the mastermind behind this play, and she is the author of 9 novels and 5 plays that have been translated into 13 countries worldwide. Her next novel is The Island Girls, which is not science fiction but is historical, and it'll be published in April 2020. I think the same day as Goldilocks, right? We have April 30th, right? Oh, never mind then. Almost similar. So she is also one of my ex-students and graduated with a distinction in her master's in creative writing this year. Ooh. And she's writing a very excellent science fiction novel for her major project. And so Noëlle lived in Bergen in Norway for several years when she discovered the history of witch trial persecution on the island of Vardø, which I'm probably mispronouncing, in the very far north of Norway. She became obsessed with reading the trial transcripts, and the result was a book and a play created in collaboration with Becky Sweeney, another distinction-attaining ex-Napier Master's graduate. I'm sensing a theme. So Witches Gets was formed last year at the Chimera Festival, and again, yes, at Audacious Women's, to sell out houses both times. The following excerpt is taken from the play and features Alex Delaney as Ingeborg, Noëlle as Kirsten, Andrea Kvalig as Anna Rodius, Sonny Ruggiera as, I'm really bad at the Norwegian names, I'm very sorry, Solva, and Shelley Midler as Maren. The film created by Becky features Hannah Sweeney as Kim Seberg. Here we see how the accused women attempt to escape the horror of their real-world persecution by claiming the power of weather magic. So thank you to the cast of Witches Gets.
called the Witch's Hole in Vardø Fortress. It wasn't a hole, it was a hut made of turf, but it had no windows and no floors, and the women were expected to lie on uneven rock. The place must have stunk of fear, of blood, of piss, of shit. Scratching rats would be heard but not seen. It was a place to lose all hope. I was lost. I was cold in the dark woods. It wasn't a hole, it was a hut. I called out to you, but you never answered. What kind of mother are you?
The Dark Lords among us.
Of fear, of blood, of piss, of shit.
Lapping against the sides of the fishing boats.
Would be heard,
hissing on all the lips of those who shame us.
It was a place to
behind
lose
you,
all hope.
stepping neatly into your shadow. Yes, he's here, sitting next to you, hiding deep into his sheepskins.
On the 6th day of November, in the year of our good Lord 1662, a female person from Vance, named Sigrid Sigvardsdale, was led before the courts, accused of witchcraft, having been named by Dore Laurisdale, whereupon the district governor questioned the said Sigrid Sigvardsdale and admonished her to confess the full truth about the witchcraft on account of which she has been denounced. Her pretty dress all torn, and she was dirty. She stood there before the 12 good men and she pledged to state the truth. She said she was willing to die upon it. When the governor asked her how she had learned the craft, Sigrid Sigvarsdale told her it was from her cousin, Sølve Nilsdager. She gave it to her last summer. Gave it in some milk she drank. Sølve promised Sigrid she would forswear the God Almighty. She would have all the wealth she ever wanted. A new wool bodice, silk petticoats, fine lace collars, gold rings on every single finger, marzipan, towers off it, warmth, a fire that will never go out.
Oh yes, cousin. Independence. No more fucking Hans Orbeck for a bag of grain. Our mother was innocent.
Your mother confessed, like all the other witches and their gets.
In chains before the governor of Varda. 3 weeks sleeping in the witch's hole has turned Mama's creamy skin pale. Her red hair to dirty straggles. Her eyes are big black holes. You can smell the pain off her. See the broken thumbs, the scorched skin, the stoop in her beaten back. But none want to look. Close their eyes and listen instead.
Sigrid Sigvarsdale tells the court how she cast spells on Merchant Orbeck's ship. Sølve Doré, and she turned into birds. Together they flew atop of Dorman and untied the knots in their handkerchiefs.
Wind in the name of the devil.
They flew to the ship. Your mother was a dove, Sølve a crow, Doré, in the likeness of an eagle.
Wind in the name of the devil.
All his dark magic pumping in their hearts, giving them sight and strength, they blew across the surface of the sea.
Choppy at first, waves building higher and higher, Merchant Orbeck looking up at the sky.
No,
he saw us circling, and he knew he must pay.
No.
We would not allow him to pass.
Now he'll know what it's like to be one of our fishermen, out in the wilderness, pushed into danger, all to pay his debts.
But good must prevail. For Merchant Orbeck fell to his knees, he prayed to be saved, and God heard him.
But my brother was a good boy. Why did God not save him?
For such heinous misdeeds, the court has but no choice than to condemn Sigrid and you, Sølve, both to the stake.
No, my mother never did those things. You made her say it. We confessed, we denounced others, we want to be saved.
It's too late, for you sold your souls to the Dark Lord. All you can is pray the fire is going to purify your sins.
What about my children?
You are bad mothers. You know it. Sølve, you and your cousin Sigrid gave her daughters to the devil.
No!
Don't deny it. Illicit sex. You're both the devil's whores. Wishing your own children raped. Confess it, I demand you tell us the truth.
No, never. Burn us then, but I will never tell a lie on those girls. On the 12th day of November, in the year of our good Lord 1662, my mama, fisherman's widow, merchant's mistress, the devil's own breed bird, was burnt at the stake. Guilty of weather magic. We hid, but they found us. Brought us in their boats to Varda. Split us up. I was taken to the witch's hole. Locked up with the other bad woman. In the witch's hole I see things. The shadow upon the wall is the devil, with a tall black hat upon his head, and claws for hands. The girl sitting atop the well when I'm sent for water, watching me with glinting eyes, is Doretta. The sparrow hopping along the snowy courtyard is a little devil calling out to me. The cat jumping from the fortress walls and slinking into the governor's house is Solva in disguise. The greyhound chasing it away is the devil himself. But where's Mama?
Ingeborg, chopping and changing her story. She's says my mother was innocent, but then she's a witch. She says that I'm innocent, but I'm a witch's get. I can't trust her. It makes me sad. Stand with me, sister. Say what's what. Aye. We have the power to hurt Mistress Rhodius and all the people of Vardo, but I choose not to. See? To be good because I want not to have to. See? Why burn me for my virtues? I keep the whole island safe. I talk down the devil from his wicked plans of death and destruction. You see, it's the devil that burns sinners in hell, but it's the governor who burns sinners on the earth.
Feel confident enough to move it. Thank you, Eris. All right, so thank you very much to the cast of Witches Gets. So now, last but not least, we have the first prize of the raffle, which you all bought not knowing what was in it. It could be full of lint, but it's not, promise. So we have Snorri, last name I can't pronounce, Council, which looks like it's Norwegian-inspired fantasy, which looks very good. Icelandic, thank you. Apologies. And then the most excellent Fifth Element, a.k.a. one of my favorite films of all time. I used to watch this every day when I got home from school when I was like 14. I have it all memorized, including Leeloo Dallas's made-up language. Some Star Mix, more Mars Bars and Milky Ways, a can of beer, Lunar Lager, Odyssey Craft Brewery, False Hearts, also by me, and the most terrifying thing I've ever seen, a Fugler ugly monster with like creepy teeth. I don't know if you want it, but it is terrifying and interesting. You could scare many small children with it, and adults. And then, that's not all, but wait, there's more. I'm just going to put these back in. We have a beautiful art print by, what's the name again?
Siobhan MacDonald.
Siobhan MacDonald. So it's a smaller version of...
Cover for issue 17.
So cover of issue 17 of Shoreline of Infinity. So look how beautiful that is. Okay. Let's hope it hasn't lost my place again. Yes. All right. So scientist number 5 is Dr. Flossie Wongstall, who is a Chinese-American virologist who became the first scientist to clone HIV and determine how its genes work, which made a huge step in proving that HIV actually causes AIDS. She also helped develop a drug to treat hepatitis C, and at the age of 72, still works as the chief science officer at Itherix Pharmaceuticals. She was born in China and fled to Hong Kong as a child with her family after the Communist Revolution. Her gene therapy for HIV remains incredibly helpful in the treatment of HIV and AIDS patients. So next up, we have Kat Hellisen, taken to the stage to read from her novelette. Come on up. So Kat Hellisen is the author of several spec-fic novels and short stories. She slides the dreamy and the strange between the normal and mundane to present an off-kilter world. She has one short story, Day Africa, and her story, Oh Baby Teeth, Johnny with Your Radiant Grin, Let's Unroll on Moonlight and Gin. You really do love long titles. Can be read in Shoreline of Infinity's issue 14. There we go. Take it away.
Hi. Thank you very much to Laura and to Noëlle and everyone at Shoreline of Infinity for putting this together and for inviting me here. And I'm going to start with saying that, you know how people always say you should never apologize and you should never explain? I'm going to do both. Because first of all, I'm going to apologize because, yes, I like horrible long titles. And I'm going to do a bit of explaining because it'll make no sense if I don't. So I wrote a novel quite a while back called Muse, a love song for after the world has ended. And it's basically a novel about death, because that's what I do. And I wrote a lot of short stories in this world. One of them is Oh Baby Teeth Johnny with your radiant grin, let's unroll a moonlight and gin, which you can read Shoreline. And the one I'm reading from today is called Even When the World Has Told Us We Have Ended. And it's not exactly a retelling of Rapunzel, except when it is. But the backstory to this is that an alien invasion has wiped out all of humanity and the earth and reduced them to dust and memory. And you have some humans who've survived and changed, and they've become able to access all of the lost art and creativity of this destroyed world in a shared mental space that's called the hypnagogue. And then in this void of nothingness that's left of Earth and humanity, people start coming back from the dead, and they start reforming themselves around their memories. But they don't always get their own memories, and they don't always get the right memories, and they come back all warped and strange. And so they're called the diverse peoples, and the real humans who can access the hypnagogue are called the muses. And the diverse peoples use the muses to download inspiration. And just so that you know this isn't fantasy, what they call the Fae are actually the aliens. So with that all out the way, I shall attempt to read stuff to you when I can actually change pages. So this is just the opening of the novelette, because we're not going to be here all night. And here we go. There's a story I know, one you don't, the girl says, about a girl in a tower. She lies on her back, stretched out on the hardwood floor, smoking a thin-rolled joint, watching the ghost glow play across the ceiling as the strands of LEDs move in a humid breeze. Her skin is shimmered with sweat, faint scales opalescent in the shifting light. The rain drums counterpoint to her voice. The muse is curled at the end of the mattress, back to the wall, arms hugging its knees close. It has put distance between this sprawling starfish girl and itself. Their transaction is over, but the girl has made no move to leave. She seems to be making herself at home, as though the muse is a new friend she has made, rather than a drug she uses. It wants her gone, and it doesn't. It's rare for diverse peoples to talk to the muse as though it has feelings, thoughts of its own. Perhaps it can still remember the art of conversation. There's always a girl in a tower. It digs through its collection of bottles, looking for the moonshine one of its Johns paid it last week. Yeah, but this tower, it's different. And this girl, maybe she's different too. I don't know, this is just the story I heard. In snatches, whispers and the like. So this happened here in New Hope, where everyone comes to live. Not everyone, just most of them. The broken Phoebes all rolled up out of nothingness and gathering around New Hope like flies around a corpse. It's a maggot place, heaving and sighing and twitching, but it's still a corpse. At the edge of New Hope, there's a tower, but not that one. The girl with the silver hair stops her story to take a drag on her joint, a matchstick width of crumbled leaves sweet with resin. The paper is blackened and sticky, leaving marks on the girl's glimmering fingers. The perfume that fogs the room is drier and sweeter than the muse knows it should be. Sometimes memory makes the truth saccharine. New Hope has many towers. Yeah, the lightning towers and all that, and the city towers, like spikes for bitch birds. But it's not them I'm talking about. They very carefully do not name the court tower, as though not to stir a sleeping monster. I miss butcher birds, she says. They would stick earthworms and baby mice on the thorn trees, make themselves a larder. They look so smart, all in black and white, like they were hunting girls at a party. Is this how the story goes? The muse also remembers the same birds, wonders briefly if once this girl in itself shared a common origin. Well, no, but if you want me to tell it to you straight and neat in 1,000 voices, then you're going to be disappointed. I can't do that, muse. I'm not one of you. She sits up and grudgingly passes the joint over. Their fingers brush and a faint electric crackle from their transaction sparks. No. The muse shakes its aching fingers where the download jacks have bitten deep. Every joint throbs. It knows this tale the girl is talking about, or versions of it. It is older than death. Tell me your story. They have time enough, after all. It tastes the drug, echoes of what it would have been in a world before this, and feels the pain slowly recede. Smoke wreathes through the hanging strands, forming tiny nebulas around the little ghosts. The girl is the muse's last John for the evening, and they have the dregs of the girl's weed and the muse's moonshine, made from real moons. Tell me it as you remember it. Sure, so there's this girl in the tower, and she can never leave. She's been trapped there by a witch. Or maybe it was a fae, I can't remember. I mean, there's no difference, really. Why do you say that? The muse has always seen a difference between the two. It's not even subtle. Witches are people, after all. Well, they both eat babies, don't they like? The girl picks her teeth with a sliver of wood she has peeled off the edge of a floorboard. The joint is dead, the moonshine has left a softly luminous stain at the bottom of her glass. She smiles when the muse reaches over and refills her drink from a dusty shouldered bottle. The muse hates this place. Once it lived in a tower, like the girl, or not like the girl. It lived in a court tower, right in the belly of the beast where the fae kept all the muses fed and warm, and scraped away exquisite patterns from their skin. And then, one by one, the muses were taken from the tower and redistributed. Redistributed, like they were a commodity. You are a commodity, the muse reminds itself. You are a drug. You are the grain that sweetens the meat. Briefly, it wondered what would have happened to it if the diverse peoples had not started gathering themselves together, accreting their misshapen bodies around the nodes of their memories and becoming flesh and blood. Would it too have finally been completely consumed, sliver by sliver, drop by drop? The girl is still talking, her voice drifting in and out like slow sighs. The muse picks up the thread easily enough. It has heard some version of this story 1,000 times. If it retreats into the hypnagogue, it can remember every variation that has ever been written or filmed or spoken. It can relive any fairy tale in all its horror and wonder. So like this girl, she's been up in this tower for her whole life, from when the witch plucked her up out of the baby farms, right? Saved her from being eaten, but locked her up. Said it was to keep her safe. Maybe it was. Maybe, agrees the muse. One can never be sure. People do strange things to protect those they think they love. They clip and cage them, feed them sweet lies and soft, shapeless truths. And she's okay with it mostly, this girl, I mean. Who knows what the witch was thinking? And she grows up in her tower, starts out small as a bean and grows, and she grows her hair long because, no one's ever told her to cut it or nothing. No one here grew up as a child. The muse can hear the flatness in its voice. It's ruining the girl's story, it knows, but it can't help but be pedantic. No one in what passes for this world grew from babe to adult. They arrived here dead. And any babies born after, well, the less thought on that, the better. They aren't real anyway. Dream flesh, dream meat, propagating more dream meat. And that's what I have for you. Thank you very much. If you do want to read more of that story, it is actually, the novelette is free. Because I'm so nice. No, it's because I'm so desperate for people to read it. And if you get hold of me on Twitter, @Hellisen, I will send you a link and you can just download it. I'll put it up on Twitter as a... What if you don't have Twitter? If you don't have Twitter, You can go look on Smashwords and just look for Cat Hellisen and see if you can find it. Does that help? Yay, I'm so useful. All right, thank you very much for having me. And
thank you, Kat. And also apologies for the elephant rave upstairs. Well done for being unfazed. So next up we've got Anne Landman. Hello, hello. To come talk to us about Chimera, which you should all go to. Who went to last year's? Hey! Who's gonna go? Who's gonna go this year? Everyone? Yes, yes. All right. You can anyway.
Well, hello everyone. I've made notes. They're on my phone because we're also super high tech. Well, great to see that so many of you were at last year's festival. If you've met me at the end of it, you know how I said, smaller program. 2020 will be smaller, there'll be less clashes, more people can go to more things. Yeah, that was a lie. That was such a lie. Things happened. This year's program is insane. I'm qualified to say this because I made it. We have over 70 authors. I'm proud to say that almost 55% of them are female. I mean, it's just what happened. It's just because a lot of the amazing writing out there at the moment is done by women and other genders. So we have Adrian Tchaikovsky, Janet Mike Carey, Marion Womack, Tim Leben, Temio, who will be in conversation with Laura Lam, Chris Brookmeyer, Anne Charnock, and lots and lots more. So that's your kind of Friday. It's the 5th till the 7th of June. So we're starting on Friday, the 5th of June at 4, and then we're going to finish on Sunday, once we're all danced out after the Ceilidh, at about 9:30. We love having plays, so we have 3 plays. I'm most excited about Guards, by Terry Pratchett, adapted by Stephen Briggs. Not just because my flatmate's in it, but also because it looks brilliant. I went to the read-through the other week. It's going to be awesome. Noëlle is bringing a crew together to do Songs of Apollo's Children, which will be really exciting. And there's a 3rd play by Fiona Herbert about Corey Wrekin, which is a whirlpool off the coast of Scotland, which is very cool. Robin Ince is coming, the comedian/horror lover. He's going to do the satanic rites of Robin Ince. There will be no demon conjuring or anything. He's just going to talk about his favourite horror books, which is going to be awesome. The Creators Hall is back. If you want to have a table in it, deadline is Monday. We also have a writing competition, the Chimera Prize of Speculative Short Fiction. Deadline for that is Sunday. You can still enter. If you only need to write 2,000 words max, you can do this. You don't need to sleep. You can put it in. The 2 win. There's a age category 14 to 17 and 17 plus, and the 2 winning stories get published in Shoreline. And you get a little bit of cash, and you get to come to one of our writing workshops as well. We're doing lots for emerging writers this year. We're doing writing workshops. We're doing agent one-to-ones. We can sit down with an agent or an editor and get feedback on the first 2,000 words of your novel and your submission letter. We have a Pitch Perfect event. For those people that don't know what that is, there's about 8 people. They're going to talk about their novels, and then we're going to battle it out in the mud. No, it's not quite. They're going to get feedback from an expert panels, which will contain agents and editors and possibly a publicist if I can find one. And there will be an open mic on Saturday and Sunday where you can also read your stuff for a bit of if you want to try out standing in front of people and reading stuff. We're also going to play D&D all weekend, because what else are we going to do? I've put aside a room. We're going to do D&D stuff, like write your own roleplay game and character creation, like beginner stuff and advanced stuff. And if you're really lucky, you can play D&D with Adrian Tchaikovsky or Mike Carey. That might be a thing. Tickets go on sale on Monday, unless you already have a weekend pass, in which case you've already been booking your tickets, and you have been, which makes me very happy. You can still buy a weekend pass. So if you buy it tonight, I will send you your password tomorrow morning, and you can book your tickets before everyone else and be really smug on Monday. If you don't have any cash, that's cool. happens. I mean, I'm not going to have any cash at the end of the festival if you don't get Creative Scotland funding. So, we do free tickets for low income as well. Or you can come volunteer. Volunteering will be fun. You get fetching blue T-shirt, pictures on the website, and you might get a biscuit, cup of tea if you're really lucky. Get to hang out with me. You get like a volunteer induction. There might be biscuits at that. And basically, it's going to be like a really packed weekend, and we're not going to succumb to the apocalypse. Coronavirus will be over at that point, fingers crossed. And if not, we're just gonna do it, and we'll live stream it all, thanks to Sandy. And there'll be no audience. There'll just be like an author in that corner and an author in that corner, and like quarantine suits. We'll think of something. I'm sure it'll be fine. So yes, chimerafestival.co.uk if you need information, or I've still got some save the date cards because the flyers aren't ready yet because I haven't made them yet. So pick one up of these if you need a reminder, or find me at the back. And all come. Like, it's free to come, and there's lots of free stuff. And just come and have some fun. Hang out with people. Thanks.
Thank you, Anne. Yeah, I can't recommend Chimera enough. It was so much fun last year, and I'm so excited to be back this year. So I have one more scientist for you, but I cheat, and I use a collective. So Goldilocks really came into focus for me when I learned about the Mercury 13. Has anyone heard about them? Yeah. Yay! So for the rest of you, they were 12 American women who, through a privately funded program, underwent the same physiological and psychological screening tests as... Who is up there? So many questions. God, is that you? Anyway, they went through the same tests as the Mercury 7 astronauts, but tested better than them. But because they were women, didn't get to go to space because sexism. So they were not ever officially part of the NASA astronaut program and never got to fly. So when the program was canned, Jerry Cobb tried to get it resumed and wrote to the president citing gender discrimination. And so a subcommittee of the House convened, but unfortunately their testimony was undermined by another woman, Jacqueline Cochran, whose husband funded much of the program, but she was too old to be allowed into the Mercury 13, and so some think this is why she was so unsupportive of them and basically threw them under the bus. And so some of the Mercury 7, such as John Glenn, were also super unsupportive. And the qualification to become an astronaut was also made next to impossible for women to meet because only men were allowed to be test pilots, and they wanted test pilots to become astronauts. So they were basically screwed on multiple levels. And even though many of them had just as many or more flight hours, they weren't able to qualify. So none of them ever made it to space, though the surviving members saw Sally Ride go up in the 80s, and 7 of the surviving members were invited to see Eileen Collins pilot the space shuttle in 1995. So one of the members, Wally Funk, is in her late 70s and is still trying to go into space via Virgin, and I really hope she makes it. Send Wally Funk to space, you cowards. If you want to learn more about them, there's a really great documentary on Netflix called The Mercury 13, and there's also a good book called Wally Funk's Race to Space, which looks at Wally Funk in particular. I have so many questions about who's above us and why they're so excited at nearly 10 p.m. So, there we go. So now it is time to draw a raffle prize, but I don't know how to do that, so you can do that, Noel. Yes.
Here we go.
Okay, I can draw them out then. All right, ready? So for third prize, the suspense. Okay, third prize is 766. Hey! Come get your prize. You You get Wonder Woman and Milky Way bars and Arrival and some books. All right. Next up, everyone. Okay. The suspense. 7 to 8. 7 to 8. Yay!
Such a long week.
I know.
Very much.
All right, and first prize. Oh, I dropped one. Sorry for that one. 746.
That's the box it came in, just to keep it safe.
All right, and so give everyone who read tonight and performed tonight a huge round of applause. And then now it is time to welcome back Aurora Engine to see us out.
Need the stool then?
Yeah.
Hey. I really liked Noel's advice there, like just as you put me on the stage there, he was like, don't fall off the stage. I was like, okay, I'll try. I did actually fall off the stage though once in a very similar situation. When I was playing right at the edge and I was playing the piano and I went back over into it and fell. But luckily got wedged between the stage and the mixing desk. And I had to be fished out, like lifted up on the chair, because I was still on the chair. Okay, this was my response to Brexit. I was kind of laughing at, well, sorry, there might be some people who did this, but I was silently thinking, what are people doing when everyone was hoarding loads of food and tins for Brexit? But now I'm not laughing, am I? Yeah. anarchy in the UK. It's coming sometime, and maybe take the wrong time, stop the traffic light. Your future green has sure been seen, and I want to be anarchy. How many ways to get what you want? I choose the best, I choose the rest. I choose the enemy, I choose anarchy. And I want to be anarchy. And I want to be
Thank you. Cool, thank you very much for that. So yeah, thanks so much for having me along again tonight. This is the third time, like I said, that I've been here. There is one CD left, so 2 have gone. So that is the last one actually in existence for sale, so just saying. This song's called Criminal. Sorry, that was in the wrong key, so I'm just going to do a few more levers. This is when multitasking goes wrong. Okay, we're in business. Will someone please take this criminal and put him to sleep, or at least find him something more to eat? Will someone please take this criminal and find him a home, or at least find him somewhere warm to go? 'Cause I am finding it hard to hide him. He is bursting at my seams. Will someone please take this criminal from me? Will someone please take this criminal before it's too late, before he takes complete control? Will someone please take this criminal before he sets in? He's been with me since I was 9 years old, and I am finding it hard to hide him. He is bursting at my seams. Will someone please take this criminal from me?
'Cause I was living in the dark when I first felt his kiss, hidden in my head like a little chrysalis. I couldn't use my heart, I couldn't use my head, and I just snapped up and took it all and didn't even care. I woke up one morning and realized there was fire. I snapped off some branches and breathed in his life. I realized I've been living in a world of babies. Realized that one day they turn into trees. And I had hung my self, but I am born again. 'Cause I was finding it hard to hide him. I was bursting at your seams. Will someone please take this criminal from me?
Okay, this is my last song tonight, and it's quite a short one. Thank you once again for everyone for coming along, and it's been a wonderful night as always. I'm Aurora Engine. You can find me on social media. It'd be really great to hear from you. And this is called The Stupid Things That We Do.
late at night, I won't ask questions, but I'll hold you close and tight.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, I can't read it. I meant to say thank you to everyone. So thank you to myself. Wait, there we go. And Kat Hellisen. There we go. All of the performers, Anne at the door, Jade at the merch, and acting Captain Merch, Andrew Wilson, live streaming by Channel 7A, raffle donations from Transrail Fiction, artwork prize from Siobhan McDonald, staff at the Pleasance Cabaret Bar, excellent person, sound and lights, and Creative Scotland has also helped us. So our next events are on the 30th of April, fingers crossed. I'm also hoping I don't have to cancel all of my launch events, which are around then. That'll be with Jeanette Ng, and Chimera will be 6th of June. I'm also going to shout out that I have Goldilocks' launch at Blackwell's on May 6th. Please come. Russell Jones, who is here in absentia. Noëlle, of course. A huge round of applause to Shoreline of Infinity for always putting on these excellent events. Make sure to follow them on Twitter if you don't already. I'm also at LR_LAM if you want to hear me witter on about not very interesting things. But there we go. Thank you so much for coming out despite the public health warnings. And wash your hands before you leave. Wash your hands when you get home. Just wash your hands a lot. All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. I was afraid I was